All of us don't have the same personality type. Hence, it is important to understand what is your personality and then look for a job environment where your personality can do wonders. That's how you can be successful in your career. Let's find out more. Hello. So, in the last video, we spoke about the fitment being the cause for being in the wrong job. Let's now talk about personalities. What do I mean when I say everyone has a specific personality type? Let's invite TMD and know more about this. Hello, sir. So, my first question to you is my job connected to my personality?
Yeah, very big yes, Akshita. Can you imagine Sachin Tendulkar, India's greatest batsman ever, being a software engineer? Can you imagine Lalu Prasad Yadav, who's one of our biggest politician, as an accountant? Or more importantly, more easily, can you imagine your own HR head as a production manager of your factory? I would suspect it will be a disaster. They are successful in the current role for some specific reason, and we are very curious to know why is that? Why are some people very good in some jobs? For example, Sachin Tendulkar as a batsman. What makes him so successful? Here we have to connect the personality to a job.
Actually, I was going to ask you that question, sir. How is my personality connected to the job that I do?
Yes. See, this whole theory of personality and job was explored by an American psychologist, John Holland. It's an old theory, but it's very extensively used in career counseling. In this domain, there are not many psychological frameworks available for us to study and correlate with the job. And his theory is based on a strong interest inventory theory, and which is what we used in career assessment. Basically, he says that people who choose to work in an environment which is very similar to the personality type are likely to first be successful, and second, they're more satisfied and enjoy their jobs. So John Holland came back and said that people can be broadly categorized in six personality types. And these six personality types are what we call as the John Holland six types. They are number one, realistic. These guys are doers. They're mechanically inclined, very self controlled, very independent, very persistent, systematic, and athletic. The second type, or the investigative type, they are thinkers. They're very analytical, logical, inquisitive, scientific, but they're reserved by nature. The third category are artistic, they are creators. You must have seen many of them in your life. They're very idealistic, very unconventional, very intuitive, introspective, but courageous. They always stand up. Most of the artists stand up when they believe something is going wrong. The fourth type are the social type. They are the helpful variety. They are very sensitive, patient, cooperative. Most important, they are very outgoing. They go out and reach out to people and very talkative. The fifth type is called enterprising. They're great persuaders. They persuade people all the time. They are energetic, but assertive sometimes, but very spontaneous and impulsive. The sixth and the last type is called conventional. These guys are very organizers, efficient, very organized, very conforming. Note it. They're not going to be rebels. They're conformist and they are very practical also. Now, if you look at these type, everybody has a combination of these six types. Typically, we are strong in three out of the six, and they are basically primary, secondary, and tertiary. For example, if you look at a cricketer or a sportsman, his primary will be realistic. They are doers fundamentally. The second, they're artistic, and third will be the conventional and organizers. This is the typical personality type of a cricketer. Now let's look at a singer like Lata Mangeshkar. She is artistic is the primary type, realistic is the second type, and the conventional is the third type. These are in that order. She has all the three traits. These traits will be in that sequence. And you look at Lalu Yadav, politician. The primary, they are helpful social people. They are persuasive and therefore they are social. The second one, they're very enterprising. They go out and they're always pushing people, assertive. And the last one is they're realistic. They are not idealistic variety. Now, therefore, we gave you three examples, and each of them had three of the six personality types in that order. Number one is what I said. For example, Sachin Tendulkar, R was number one, A was number two, and C was number three. Let's validate this with an example. And Sachin, this is the again published story. Uh, when Sachin used to play cricket with his colony watchman, his name is Ravesh Pade, Sachin was his playmate. And he used to ask him to dip his rubber ball in water and then bowl to him. I mean, it's very surprising. But what Sachin used to do is to, after hitting the ball, he used to look at the wet marks left on his bat to see where exactly the ball hit. Did he middle the ball correctly? This is a classic example of being very systematic and methodical, and which is very typically part of the RAC type of a sportsman. Lata Mangeshkar's story is even more interesting. Her first song in 1942 at the age of 13 was recorded for a Marathi film. The film was called Kiti Hasa. You know what happened? The song never came. It was removed from the movie. But because at that time, great singers, Noor Jahan was a great singer, Shamshad Beham, they had a very strong voice. And Lata Mangeshkar's voice was supposed to be very thin, very light. But then, 7 years she waited, she struggled. And in 1949, after 7 years, she sang a song which is the most memorable song. It's called Aayega Aane Wala. It's a beautiful movie, beautiful song from the movie Mahal, and this clearly demonstrates her persistence. She was a persistent singer. She's very idealistic, never gave up in life, and then now she's part of the film industry's doings. So this is the typical part. Idealistic and persistence is part of the personality of a singer. So let's go back to the three action steps. I told you earlier that we should always look at three action steps at the end of every video. The first one is go back and think about your personality. I mentioned about what RIACC means. So you need to think about which are the one you're dominant, which is the primary, secondary, and tertiary out of the six. There are also tests available. They're called personality typing test, and John Holland test is available on the web. You can visit the sites available and then and take those tests. Later on in the video, in the end, we will be showing some sites where you can go and take the test. Most important, what you think of yourself is not the truth. Many times your friends can see you better. So talk to your close friends and tell them and ask them to pick which of their dominant three types, RAAC. What are the three top one? What is number one, number two, number three? And ask them to describe you and ask them to check from the list.
Thank you so much, sir. I think that was really interesting. And we will add the links to the John Holland test in the description below. The next video would be about how do I find out the jobs that fit my personality type. So looking forward to that. Thank you.